Welcome back. I'm Jeremy with Desert Tsunami, and in today's tutorial we're just going to be tying up a few loose ends at what I would call the beginner level of using RPG Maker. So, some of the things we're going to be targeting today are how to use regions, mostly to trigger random encounters. We'll be going through the systems, System 1 and 2, and we'll be talking about terms. After that, I'd say you're pretty much done with this level, and the next tutorial will be covering some more advanced, or I'll call it intermediate things. So let's go on and begin. Alright, looking at regions, the first thing, I'm actually just going to stay right here on this map so we can use these. So the very first thing we need to do is switch back over to our map editor, and then down here where you see that R, where you have your tabs A, B, and C, go ahead and click on the R. Now I did show these to you in an earlier tutorial, but we didn't touch on them very much. So let's go ahead and do that now. So let's say down here in the beach, I want to have some goblins. So I'm going to select region 1, and I'm just going to start painting the region. Now, if you go over something, it's not going to delete the tile, but you probably don't need your region to come way out here if you don't need it. If that happens, just come over here to the blank region, or region 0, and get rid of it. So, we can go on and finish putting our area down where we're going to have our goblins. Now, regions can be used for a lot of other things, but at their core, or at their base, this is kind of what they're used for. And if you're painting it over spots that the character can't reach in the first place, don't worry too much about it. It's not going to affect gameplay much at all. Okay, so we have region 1 here, and what I want to do is place some goblins here. You can't see it right now, but if you scroll in, you can start seeing a 1. So that lets you know exactly what region you're in. So, let's set some fights up in here. What we need to do that is right click on the map you're currently on and go to edit, or just press the space bar. And over here where it says encounters is where we're going to set up all these fights. So let's double click in encounters, and this window is going to pop up. Now this window pops up, it's going to give us what troops we want to use. We said we want to use goblins. The weight is going to tell us how often or how frequent that particular fight's going to pop up. We can leave it at 5 for now. We don't want to have in the entire map, that's why we set up regions. So we're going to say specify regions and tell it what region we want it in. So we have it in region 1, we'll put it in region 1. If you're using regions to lay down your fights, you can have up to 3. Let's say OK. The last thing we need to look at is the encounter steps. Now this is on average how many steps it's going to take your player to move before they encounter something. So if it's set at 30, that doesn't mean every 30th step they're going to get into a fight. It could mean in 15 steps they'll get into a fight, and then they may not get into another fight until the 45th step. So I'm going to lower this a bit just for learning purposes. I'm going to put it at like 15. Then I'm going to say OK. Just to make sure this is running correctly, let's flip back over here to our events, and I'm going to place our player right here. It's been a while since I've looked at anything in here, so let me make sure that there's nothing firing off automatically. Oh, okay, that one's got a switch, so we're good. Okay, we're going to hit play. And let's run around a bit and see if we get into a fight. And there we go. So, that's loud. Should probably kill that music. So, that worked out pretty well. So that's all you really need to know about the regions right now anyway, and how to use them to start fights. If you do want fights to go over the entire map, when you click in here, you can just leave this part here where it says range at entire map. Next, we need to go look at the database. Okay, over in System 2, once again, things look kind of complicated, but it's not that bad. Starting at the top left, we have the different commands that will show up in the command menu, or in the main menu, I should say. If you want them to have access to their items or equipment, you'll place that stuff here. If your game only has one character in it and it only ever has one character, you may not need formation, so we can turn that off. If you want to use save spots instead, you can get rid of saves, or you can turn them back on. Below here, we have item categories. Do we need key items in this game? If not, you can turn them off. If there's no armor in the game, you can turn that off as well. But if you'd like to have them, make sure the check mark is there. From the right of there, we have magic types. Now, essentially all this is doing is if a type is in here, which we have magic and special, so let's just add special real quick. Whenever a skill is being used or being called that is either a magic or a special type, it's going to cause a side view battler to start chanting. This only affects side view. If you don't want something there, select it, hit delete. Below there, we have attack motions. Now there are only 3 types of attack motions. 4, my apologies. You've got thrust, swing, and missile. Nope, there's only 3. Wow. I might be going slightly crazy. Anyway, when you go and set up a weapon, so let's come over here to weapon, and we have here where it says weapon type, sword. If we come back over here to System 2, if we look at sword type, it's going to use a swing animation. Once again, this only affects side view battlers. So if you have it set to front view, you don't need to worry about this. Moving to the top right, we have tile size, icon size, and face size. By default, RPG Maker MZ uses a 48 by 48 pixel character size. This also stands for, what's the word I'm looking for here? This is going to impact your tiles as well. So your tiles and your characters are all going to be 48 by 48. The icon size is all going to be 32 by 32, and the face size 144 by 144. If you want to make them smaller, you can do that. It all depends on the art style that you're aiming for, and maybe in some cases what your computer can handle. We can skip this for now. And down here in advanced settings, really, there's nothing you need to worry about. Honestly, there's not much you need to worry about in either one of these. The one thing I will say is where it says screen width and screen height, you can change these. By default, it is an 816 by 624, but maybe you want it to be a 1280 by 720. This puts it at a 16 by 9 aspect ratio, so what most screens are. Let's go on and hit apply, and let's see what that looks like. Okay, so our screen is a bit bigger than it was before, and it's going to try to fill it out, but it's not going to do that great of a job with most of the default assets. So if you're doing this, there's a good chance you're going to want to start creating your own art assets as well, which you probably want to do anyway. We'll get into standards for that once we start hitting the advanced stuff. Let's go on and close this down, come back over here, and that's pretty much it for Systems 2. The last thing I want to look at here are the terms. We'll get into types a little bit later. Well, we'll actually get into types the same time we get into common events, but terms is where we're going to be right now. This is all of the terms that your game has in it. You've probably seen most of these. So let's look down here at save. Maybe we don't want it to say save. Maybe we want it to say record or document, something along those lines. Up here, maybe we don't want the abbreviation for HP to be HP. Maybe we want to have it just be health, something like that. Same over here in the parameters. Maybe agility doesn't need to be agility. Maybe you want to change it to movement. Whatever you change these to is what the player is going to see. So when you change something, that's all something that we call front facing. What the player or what the customer is actually seeing. In the engine, it's always going to see agility as agility. You can change it to movement, but the engine sees agility. When you're typing in a formula in the items or the skills, you won't type in a.mov, you'll still type in a.agi. So it's always going to be agility. To the right, most of these are just messages that are going to pop up at the player, or things that you're going to find in the options menus. So if you want to change BGM music or BGM volume to just music volume, you can do that here. Alright, after that we can just say, oh, okay. And at that point, I'd say you guys are pretty much done with the beginner part of learning RPG Maker. So we're going to be moving on to some slightly more complicated things in the intermediate level, but the videos might be a little bit shorter because most of that stuff is all built on top of everything that I've already taught you. So until next time, keep playing and keep creating. Bye for now.